Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into a Friday day live stream. Today we are going to talk about Agent Bill. I'm going to give you guys an update on what I have been working on, and of course we are going to acknowledge the fact that the market is getting spooked once again over the tariff drama, but we have seen this story before. Yes, that is right. We know the playbook. We know what's going to happen. Everyone is prepared to buy the dip. What am I talking about exactly? Well, stay tuned to find out. Just in case you guys are new here and haven't seen us before, we go live Monday through Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard, talk about decentralized science, the broader crypto markets. Today is a live stream that I do every single Friday, except for last Friday because I was traveling, in which we go over Bill's build. Bill is my AI agent that I've been working on for the last 6 or 7 months. And of course, I'd like to keep you guys as updated as humanly possible, and so every week we go through some of those updates, and if you guys want to, we try and build out a new tool, or aka build Bill, on stream so that there is no question about the transparency of what's going on here. Now, what is causing this pullback in today's market? If you come look at the minute chart for Bitcoin, you'll actually see that we were going pretty good. Everything was looking wonderful. Bitcoin was sitting at 111,000 and change when all of a sudden Bitcoin fell off a cliff. Now, falling off a cliff at this point means we went down to 107,000, which just a week ago was Bitcoin skyrocketing. So it's really nice to see how narratives change. But Bitcoin down at 107,000, what caused this? Before we get into everything, what caused this big sell-off? Well, that is because Trump said that he is going to impose a 50% tariff on the EU, and specifically a large tariff, I believe it was 25%, on cell phones that come into the United States. Now, clearly Trump is using this as a negotiation tool. I've said we've seen this before, and I mean it. It was the little mini tariff war that we had with China, in which we were like 100% tariffs on you, and then China was like 100% tariffs on you. What the hell? And then we were like 120%, and then China was like 120%. And then we just kept going until they hit a deal. And then when the deal was struck, everything started skyrocketing back together. You guys all were living through all of it. You guys were there through the whole thing. That is literally what caused all of this sell-off that happened here in the NASDAQ, which was a pretty large sell-off, something that doesn't happen super frequently, but a 25% correction, which then, just as quickly as it happened, disappeared. And now we're back up, basically putting in all-time highs. We're not exactly at those all-time highs, but basically we're back up at the highs from before all that drama. Now, this little sell-off is just because Trump's doing the same negotiation with the European Union right now. So I think the market's ready. I don't think the market's going to stay spooked for that long just because, again, we've seen this playbook before. Good morning, Borealis. How's it going, C90? Welcome in, Yorin. Welcome to the members group, Yorin. Welcome, welcome. WC90 for gifting that membership before the live even started. How's it going, Dr. Crypto, Wild Africa, and of course, David. I got my bubbly water here today. Waterloo. Lemon lime, not sponsored, although it should be. Now, the other thing I want to really point out to you guys, a very exciting thing that is happening in the markets, is Dynx. Dynx finally bouncing off the lows here, finally starting to put in a little bit of work on the daily chart. We have now officially, for the first time since this entire sell-off has begun in Dynx, put in an incremental higher high and a higher low, although it was basically the same low, but we put in a higher high here today on Dynx. And if you go over to the 4 hour, you can see the breakout a little bit more clearly, because since back here in December of 24, when we started this major sell-off, Dynx has not been able to break above the 200 moving average on the 4 hour chart the entirety of this downturn. And now 5 months later, we got a very decisive move upwards on Dynx's chart, signaling to me that the market is finally starting to value Dynx a little bit more. I think this is long overdue, and I believe that this is the start of a pretty rapid acceleration to the upside for Dynx. We will see, obviously, as things play out, but it makes sense given that the rest of the crypto market has been starting to thrive, that Dynx would finally get its time in the sun. We saw that it broke above the downtrend here that we drew on with this yellow line, broke above, came down and tested it, and now is skyrocketing up. So hopefully that maintains some momentum. The goal here, and what I believe will happen pretty quickly, is we recapture some of these moving averages on the daily chart. So we're above the 50-day moving average. The next is to come visit the 100-day moving average, which would be at 4.5 cents. AKA $4.5 million market cap. If we can break above that 100-day moving average, the next step would be to get to the 200-day moving average, which by that time will probably be a little bit lower. So somewhere around 11 or 10 cents, which would completely be a reversal of the downtrend we've been in. And it is not alone. And what do I mean by that? I mean that the other quantum computing companies out there have been absolutely ripping lately. We go look at D-Wave, which is Dynx's #1 competitor. D-Wave is sitting up at $18.90. We first talked about D-Wave down at $1. I wish I had full ported into D-Wave at the time, but unfortunately we did not really catch that one. I'm sure some of you guys did, but I did not. D-Wave market cap. D-Wave's market cap is currently sitting at $5.52 billion, so a 2,000x higher than what Dynx is at right now, just to put things into perspective. So if we can get Dynx to start rallying, I think that Dynx is at least going to $10, which would be a $1 billion market cap. $50 would put it on par with D-Wave. Now, I don't know that it will get there this cycle, but I do believe it will get there with time. My longer term price target on Dynx is $100 plus, which is $10 billion, which I think has a good shot of hitting probably at the end of the decade, which is some time away from right now, but the time's gonna pass regardless. And there's probably not too many companies out there that have the opportunity like Dynx has. Thank you. Thank you. I went on a crazy rant about it yesterday, so I'm not going to go too far on that rant today. I will remind everyone that Bill is partnered with Dynx to be the first quantum-powered AI agent in the world. So as Dynx finishes battle testing and benchmarking their quantum diffusion large language model, after they've finished, Bill will be the first agent ever built on it, and that should count for something. That's going to showcase the power of quantum computing through Agent Bill. So I'm very excited, especially if we can catch a wave in Dynx. We should be catching a wave in Bill as well. Speaking of Bill, some of you guys may have noticed that I actually added Bill to the DeSci Schiller's Telegram a few days ago. Now, I did not give him any conversational abilities, meaning he is but a fly on the wall in this Telegram, collecting the data, collecting as much information as he possibly can. And this ties into the title of the live stream, the part of DeSci that everyone seems to ignore. Everyone in DeSci is so hyperfixated on what is going on with these different advancements in intellectual property and drug development and the research behind everything. And while that is super powerful, and while I do view that as a super, super bullish thing that they're all focused on, it does provide an opportunity for us to come in and gain a complete monopoly on the community side of everything. Because all of the DeSci projects are DAOs. All of them are DAOs, which means they have to value the community. Otherwise, no research is going to take place. If they don't have a strong community, then the DAO isn't worth anything. And so while they're all focused on the research, the fundamentals behind getting that community, the communities themselves are often neglected, which is why we created Bill to step in and help with some of that community building. I'm first testing him out in DeSci Schiller's, as Bill's kind of the mascot for DeSci Schiller's. He is the ultimate shill. And yeah, I'm excited to see. More on that in a week or so, because right now we're just in that data collection phase where we're going to get as much information as humanly possible, and then I'm going to be putting it together to create the ultimate tool for community building. And then we will go partner with all of the DeSci projects in the market. Again, if they don't partner with Bill, it's going to be a little bit of a red flag, because why would you not want your community to be nice and strong? AKA back when Derico bought, RIP Derico. But yeah, what have I been working on with Bill over the last 2 weeks since we missed last week's announcement? We missed last week's weekly update. Well, the answer is pretty simple. I've been giving him the ability to get all of the information out of a Telegram group. So I can actually, if you guys want to see it, I can show you guys some of that information. Can we get some ones in the chat if you guys would be interested in seeing the information that he's been scraping? 20 years later, I was talking about Dynx. All right, Derek. Well, I was on a rant. I was on a roll. If you guys want to see some of the information that he's gathering, it's really just the Telegram messages, but here's the key part to that, right? A lot of information is passed through telegrams. You know, a lot of information is passed within a Telegram about different DeSci projects. So announcements often get leaked early in telegrams. Key updates often get announced first in a Telegram and then on socials. And so in order to give everyone in the community that edge, I want to make it so that Bill is collecting all of that data within the different Telegram groups. Let me cough. I'm feeling like I need to. So right now, Bill is getting all of his news from X. And then the goal is to get him to also get the news from YouTube videos and stuff, but that's often a lagging indicator for news. The first mover advantage comes from being in the private communities. They're really public communities, but they're private. You guys know that, right? All of you guys have made some of your most money off of being early into a Telegram. And so the goal is to get Bill as a fly on the wall in every single Telegram group for DeSci so that he can collect all that data and utilize it and build out reports for us or give us updates or at least just be the most advanced version of himself, right? And so I'm putting together a package or a partnership agreement to make with these different DeSci groups so that he can be added. Because he is a bot, in order to be in those Telegram groups and collect the data in those Telegram groups, he needs to be an admin. And so that's not something that I just expect the communities to give Bill. So we need to give it a give and a take. There needs to be a give and a take there. So I'm putting together a partnership package to make with these different DeSci communities so that they will add Bill in, give him moderator status, and then we're good. We're in. W. Let's go. LFG. Bill has been goated. Can't stop shilling DeSci now. Let's go. Let's go, Vibra. Let's go. Beagle's lotion picks from the Telegram. Mods. My most profits have been made waiting to enter positions until Patrick is down 50%. Not gonna lie, it's foolproof. God damn it, C90. Mods! Get him out of the chat. Ban him. Ban him. It is kind of foolproof though. Low key, I advise that strategy. I really do. Because two reasons. Let me take a sip and then I'll tell you the two reasons why C90's strategy is a goated strategy. One, when I enter into positions, I usually end up losing money initially. And that is just a fact. That is just a fact, right? When I enter into positions, I usually enter in as they start falling, which means I'm catching a falling knife because that's what I like doing and that's where I've made most of my money. Usually, I will lose a little bit of money before I end up making a bunch of money. That is generally speaking how it goes. And so if you wait for me to say something about something and then wait for it to fall a little bit, you might get in at a cheaper price than me, and then we can ride the wave together. The second thing is that reduces liability for me. If I start talking about projects and all of you guys just instantly ape into all of them, then it looks like I'm shilling things and using you as exit liquidity, when we all know that's not the case, but a lot of people don't know that to be the case. And so if y'all wait a day or two before getting in after I talk about a project, you might get it for cheaper, and I don't have to worry about being labeled as using you guys as exit liquidity, when oftentimes it feels like you guys are using me as exit liquidity. And so it's a good, healthy dynamic, right? It's a good, healthy dynamic where I'm not necessarily being accused of using you guys. Wait until Dynx fell to 30 cents to enter. That was my time, LOL. Now, Dynx. No, I never foresaw this happening. It really felt like the universe was just punishing me on that one, because I started talking about Dynx, I think here, right? And then it skyrocketed and I didn't get in, and then it fell. And then when it fell to here, I think is when I opened a position, and then I didn't really start accumulating aggressively until it fell below a quarter, because I was like, yo, this is silly. And then it just kept getting sillier and sillier. And now we're finally coming back to life just a bit. We have a long ways to go, but this is crypto and things move really quickly. Like I said, all that it takes is for Dynx to release one crazy update. Where's my search bar? All that it takes is for Dynx to release one crazy update with their quantum large language model. And we are skyrocketing up very quickly to 50 million plus. Like genuinely, we're going straight to $5. No, I'm just kidding. Not $5, but you guys get the point, right? We're sitting here at 3.2 million. We're going very quickly to $50 million when Dynx releases information about how their quantum large language model is just as powerful as the other large language models out there. It's going to be like a DeepSeek type moment for Dynx. And because it's got that token, people are going to speculate hard on it. Hard. They're going to speculate hard. And it's going to be beautiful. I'm about ready to take a HELOC and full port Dynx. Then my kids can buy Mars. Oh my God. I do not recommend taking out debt at this point in the cycle. A home equity line of credit does not make sense at this point. A HELOC does make sense down at this point, right? When we're at this part in the market cycle, taking out debt does make sense, but it does not make sense at this part of the cycle where we're up here. I could be mistaken, and maybe it does make a lot of sense, but I would much rather take out a home equity line of credit down here than up here. Maybe we're right here, maybe we're right here, but there's no denying that we are closer to the top of the cycle than we are to the bottom of the cycle. And so, yeah, but do what you want to do. Who knows? Dynx could be that outlier. Dynx could be the one that skyrockets during bear markets. There's always a coin that does that. There's always a coin that does that. Are you buying art? I've had my bags packed on art for a while now. A while. You gotta type in ArtDrug for it to pop up. I was buying art through this. I actually bought a little bit of art yesterday, yeah. So wait a couple days, we'll probably continue to fall, If my curse is true, then we should see art come down to 0.0002, and then you can scoop a bag. But I was buying art down here. I'm just hanging on tight to my art bag. Same with all of these. Hanging on tight to every single one of these. And all of these. Hanging on very tight to all of these. There was one that I bought yesterday. I opened into for the first time. Oh, it was not. For the first time ever, I also bought some not Diffie-Hellman. Remember, they got into the Microsoft Accelerator program, and they are in that same little quantum world, right? And we're seeing quantum stocks take off, and we're seeing Dynx take off a little bit. So there might be a little bit of a quantum wave coming. And so I bought a bag of not yesterday. Ooh, Jesse made a video yesterday that he sold Lake. That's not what I wanted to see. But everyone's entitled to their own opinions. I bet he full ported into research with his Lake bag. Lake's at the literal bottom of the range. So if you believe that Lake is a range-bound token, like it is, and you think that Lake is going to pop back up to the top of this range, you're selling at the bottom of what could be a 1,500% rally here. Yeah. You're selling at what could be the bottom of a 1,500% rally if you think that Lake is something that's going to survive. Hello, Sophie. You guys wanted to see all of the data collection that's happening right now. So let me go ahead and pull up some of that data collection. Also, hold on. Let me pull up the data first. I'm storing it in Airtable because Airtable is a very advanced version of Excel. And so here is the data collection that's going on right now. I think it's fine that I'm sharing all of this with you. So this is in the DeSci Shillers right now, the DeSci Shillers group. And so far you can actually see that we have had 18,000 messages in DeSci Shillers, which is really cool. And then I'm pulling who said what. So it's Kuba BTC. He just said, it's such an amazing project, referring to Lake. Guys, we need to give more attention to Lake. It's such an amazing project. And then I get to also collect the replied to message, the replied to user, the replied to message ID, right? I'm collecting the message thread ID. I'm collecting to see if it's a forwarded message, where it's forwarded from, who initially said it, if it's forwarded. We're going through, we're collecting any external IDs that are linked. We're collecting any photos that are sent, any videos that are sent, any media at all that's sent, any caption on the media, any stickers that are sent, any voice messages that get sent, any animations, aka GIFs, if a bot sent it, all of that. And I'm describing all of it as well. I'm using AI to give descriptions of the stickers. So this last time a sticker was sent, I got a description. The image appears to depict an animated character featuring a dark hooded figure with a broad smile and a large glowing eyes. The character's design suggests a playful or mischievous demeanor, commonly seen in cartoon or graphic art styles. So that was a sticker that was sent, right? Let's go over to the Shiller's Telegram and see what sticker they're talking about for that. So this is the sticker they're talking about. Yeah, because that's the only other sticker. So pretty cool, right? Pretty cool. Using AI to describe everything so that I can then determine what is being said, right? So you guys can kind of see exactly what's going on with that thought process. I collect all of the data behind messages in Telegram. What is being said, what is being shared, what is anything that you can think about the messages. And all of that will be then embedded into a news knowledge base for Bill, just like I did with X, right? The same type of data collection systems going on with X, where I'm collecting data from 27 of the top DeSci projects. And every single time one of them makes a post, I collect that data and embed it into Bill's news knowledge graph. I've explained the knowledge graphs to you guys before in the past. We're doing the same thing now with Telegram so that he can then know exactly what's going on in the different Telegram groups. Because a lot of the questions that you guys ask, Bill, are very news orientated. They're very heavy on recent events or current events. And so I need more than just X. I need the Telegram data. And that's going to enhance his ability to tell you what's going on in DeSci. And then he's also, right, what's the idea with that? The idea behind that is that he can then track these Telegram groups and be able to tell if there's a shift happening, you know? That's valuable. That's really valuable data, because then you can see, right? You can see a slowed, let's just say hypothetically, right? Let's go over to Research Coin. You can see in Research Coin that, hey, maybe up here, sentiment started shifting in Research Hub's groups, right? People started asking, why is the token price going down? People saying, don't worry, it's just a dip, buy the dip, right? And then all of a sudden, if we're right here and all you can see is this, Bill is like, actually, this looks like a little bit more than just a dip in sentiment. People are starting to get fearful. It's basically a fear and greed indicator, right? You can think about it as a fear and greed indicator on DeSci projects, because that doesn't yet exist for DeSci. It exists for the broader crypto markets, but it doesn't exist for DeSci. And so you can see people starting to get excited about Research Hub again right now. And you can see that people are starting to wake up in the Telegram groups. And you pair that with the potential for a breakout, right? You see Research Hub community start to get a little bit more excited. And you can pair that with the chart to see a breakout imminent. Same thing goes for Dynx. I bet if we were to go look at the Dynx community right now, people are starting to get a little bit excited about Dynx. And you can pair that with the breakout that's happening on Dynx to see that, hey, this is probably about to be a sustainable move. So I'm just trying to give as much value as humanly possible. Mandy has abandoned DeSci Shillers. What is it? Or you? Yeah, no, it was me. Mandy has abandoned DeSci Shillers. She's not abandoned DeSci Shillers. Mandy just... Let me talk a little bit quieter because I don't want her to hear this. Mandy just can't handle the trenches like we can. All right? Mandy just can't handle the trenches. And so it's not that she doesn't like any of this. It's just that she's not built for the stress that comes with this. All right? We're going to use Mandy as a top indicator. When she comes back, when she's excited to start gambling on meme coins again, that's when we get out. All right? And when she leaves again, that's when we start buying. Okay? All right? She is retail. And no shame to her. She's just not been through it like this. She's not built for the stressors. Plus, TikTok's going through a lot of bullshit right now. So her job over at TikTok's been straining her. Data Lake in 2024. One of the most promising projects in DeSci. Data Lake in 2025. Here's a podcast episode. No. Beagle. No. What even is this? Oh, my spine. Yeah. I have to show you guys my fish tank here. There's a bunch of snails laying eggs. By having it in the picture, I can use it as a write-off, so appreciate the fish tank for a moment. All right, cool. Thank you. Oh, there's Bill. Your proposal sat in a university inbox. Poseidon DAO streamed funding to an oncology lab in real time. That's the difference. Let's go, Bill. Bullish. I'm liking these new styles. Damn. Bill be bull posting Axon, getting tons of engagement. I don't want to repost it. I want to view who has reposted it. Let's go. Let's go. The power of DeSci. I've not seen these guys before. They have DeSci in their name. Do they post or do they just repost? They just repost. Okay, cool. Yeah. So that's kind of been the update. I've been getting ready and gathering the package to put together to start partnering with DeSci projects for Bill. Sophie, do you mind? Sophie. Shh. We're live. No digging. Yeah. Anyone have questions Anyone have questions or ideas? Better yet, anyone have ideas? I know that I said I was going to put together the CoinGecko APIs for Bill so that he could pull historical price data. And I went and purchased the API keys to get CoinGecko data, but I haven't built out the tool yet for Bill to use because I've just been hyper fixated on getting these partnerships ready. And so I think the partnerships are more valuable than giving him historical price data. He can pull the live 24-hour price data and the live moves that are happening in DeSci right now, but he doesn't have information from yesterday, you know? Has Sophie been a write-off this whole time too? No, she has not. Remember when, who was it, was in the woods and taking a walk in the woods with headphones on listening, and Sophie was just sitting there panting because there was a storm going on and it was like a traumatic event? No, so Sophie's not been a write-off. But yeah. This has been fun, guys. Like I was saying, I haven't yet built out the tool to actually get the historical price data from all the DeSci coins. I think it's going to be pretty intensive, actually, an intensive build, but nonetheless, it's going to be worth it. So 24-hour volume right now is spiking in DeSci. So things are starting to spike. The whole market cap went crazy yesterday and then had a pretty big pullback here today. We're still up 4.2% on the day, but we're going through a bit of a pullback. Like Bioprotocol went on that crazy rally yesterday where it went up nearly 30%. Now it's having just a minor 5% pullback. It's not anything I think to get worried about. The whole market seems to be doing really well. Dynx with that same big spike, and now it's starting to curl back around. I'd love to see it. That was me, and I'm in the woods right now too. Sus, C90. Sus. What are you doing in the woods? CryoDAO having a big push. Cures having a big push. Patient P-Toy. I've not seen this before. Okay. Very illiquid. Lending provider of blockchain solutions for healthcare, cybersecurity, and secure transfer of patient information between providers pose significant challenges. So this is Data Lake. No. It was hole in sun. F off, Beagle. Mods. Coronal Hole in sun. I just misspelled it, all right? Leave me alone. Here we go. This is what I thought was going to pull up yesterday. Good morning, Serious Punch Samson GM. All right. This is the coronal hole in the sun. So I'm sure some of you guys have seen this. Look at the size of that coronal hole. Wow. So this is the UV depiction of the sun. Okay. So this is ultraviolet light. This is what the sun emits as energy, right? It's one of the wavelengths that the sun emits as energy. There's a lot of different wavelengths, but right now you'll see that there is a massive hole in the sun where it is not emitting any of this energy. This is a common thing, okay? This happens pretty frequently. It's not out of the ordinary for there to be a big coronal hole in the sun. Sophie, get out, please, come on. You can't scratch, come on. Lie down then, please. Yeah, you just lay down. Everything's okay. You don't need to dig. You're inside. This is not out of the ordinary, but what this is showing you is an excessive amount of activity that is about to start happening in the sun. So That's where I'm always driving to. Oh, I love it. What's good, Saf? Welcome. So you remember the blackout that happened in Spain and Portugal, and then there was some other blackouts that happened around the world over the last couple of weeks where literally all the tech just stopped, all the electricity just stopped. Anything that was based around technology just couldn't work anymore. That has to do with the increased activity of the sun paired with the decreased strength in our electromagnetic field. So there's a spot around the southern tip of Africa, I believe, that generally speaking has a weaker EMF field around the planet. And when satellites go through this area, they have to turn off. Otherwise, the energy from the sun will fry the satellite. I don't know if you guys knew this, but it's real. There's an area in the world that the EMF around the Earth is so weak that the sun will literally fry the technology in satellites in outer space. So they just turn them off to avoid this. What's happening right now is the EMF around the world is weakening in part due to the pole shift, maybe, or the poles are shifting because it's weakening. I don't really know. This is brand new. We've not lived through it in recorded human species before. We have lived through it as humans before. The Greater Dryas area was another time 13,000 years ago where the polar caps melted and the earth flooded and humans lived through it. And there's a lot of biblical text around it based off like the great floods. It's in all biblical texts or all religious texts. The poles got really weak. The earth's magnetic field got really weak. The earth's polar caps melted a ton. The sea levels rose and humanity was pretty destroyed, pretty decimated. Now we're living through it with technology. And when those gaps in the EMF field around the Earth get weakened, the radiation from the sun fry the electricity pretty dramatically. And then you get those great blackouts. Now, it's not 100% set in stone. If you ask mainstream media or you ask mainstream scientists, it's still up for debate what is going on and why this is happening or why these blackouts are occurring, but I think all the evidence points towards this type of activity. And yeah, here's a great picture kind of explaining it to you guys. It is a gap in activity. And all of these little like clusters, you'll notice they look like storms, right? They look like weather patterns. They look like clouds. It's the Earth's clouds, basically. You can think about it like the Earth's weather. So this is a clear spot in the sun, which means that you just get an excessive amount of radiation. You get an excessive amount of activity. And the sun is going through its 10-year cycle right now in which it is super active. So everything's just lining up to be pretty devastating. Yeah. There's a lot more to it too. And if you go down this rabbit hole, which I suggest you do over the weekend, go follow Space Weather News. Go watch some of his content. It's pretty profound. It's pretty crazy actually if you watch some of it. There's some more stuff we could talk about too in this regard. Like I believe they just saw the Aurora Borealis on Neptune. How do you spell Aurora? I don't like looking up stuff on X anymore. Yeah, okay, here we go. So for the first time, you can see the auroras on Neptune. So the northern lights here on Earth, what the northern lights are, here it's right below it. What the northern lights are is the particles and the radiation coming from the sun hitting the electromagnetic field around the sun, and it is saving us from those particles, from that radiation, and it's riding around the electromagnetic field and coming in on the north and south poles as particles that are emitting this beautiful, beautiful array of lights, right? The Aurora Borealis, the northern lights. When our field is weak, you can see those northern lights all the way down into New Hampshire, right? We've been able to see them all the way down to New Hampshire because the poles are getting weak, because the EMF around the Earth is getting weak. For the first time in history, we were able to see those same things on another planet, Neptune. And Hubble plus Webb, you could see the Aurora Borealis on Neptune. It is not just on the north and south poles, though. It went all the way around the planet, which is kind of indicating that the electromagnetic field for Neptune is so weak that all of the radiation from the sun is hitting the planet. So that is potentially the future for Earth. I'm speculating there. I don't know for sure. Obviously, no one knows for sure, and people are denying it pretty aggressively. But, oh, look we got Isaac here talking about it. NASA's Neptune's auroras are generated by a magnetic field 27 times stronger than Earth's, first detected by Voyager 2 in 1989. James Webb Space Telescope infrared capabilities now reveal these phenomena occur at altitudes up to 1,000 kilometers above the planet's surface. Pretty crazy. It's getting weaker and weaker. Pretty crazy to see that Isaac is right there talking about it. W. Isaac. I know, Wild Africa, it's scary. It's scary. Bill is a no-brainer, such a low market cap with no ceiling. The creator is a public figure and the community is there. LFG, Dr. Crypto. LFG. I agree. Couldn't agree more. Bill is such a clear play. If you think I'm going to grow on socials, then Bill will also grow on socials because we're tied together. So it's pretty obvious. If you think I'm going to be here making content and trying to grow the community, grow the brand, Bill will also grow with us. What are we supposed to do? What actions do we take? And then, Saf, I will come back to your message in a second, but I want to answer John here first. Because to be completely honest with you, John, nobody really knows. Nobody really knows what's going to happen, what to do. I will say, and you can connect the dots on your own if you want, okay? Total blackouts around the globe. So fuck, why can't I think of the word? The total number of incidents around the world have been increasing dramatically. The amount of countries that have been suffering through blackouts recently have gone up substantially because, in my opinion, of this weakening electromagnetic field around the Earth. So we just saw developed countries like Spain, Portugal, and parts of France due to grid failures or extreme weather events. Yeah, the sun's weather. It's the sun's weather. It's not our weather. It's the sun's weather. But we're also seeing countries like South Sudan, Burundi, Papua New Guinea, Sierra Leone, I don't know how to pronounce that, and various countries in Africa. Remember what I said, at the southern tip of Africa, there is a very weak spot in the EMF that we already have to deal with when we're putting satellites through it. So it doesn't surprise me that Africa is going to get hit pretty aggressively. But the whole world is suffering from these blackouts. And U.S. government blackout drill. So the United States government on May 20th released that they ran a solar storm emergency drill and it was a complete failure. So the problem with these advanced activities in the sun is that we have about 30 minutes of a warning before those radiation waves hit the planet, right? And so when we see that the sun is about to emit these giant flares and these giant, basically like attacks, like radiation attacks on the planet, we have about 30 minutes to prep. And so the United States government just ran through with all of its federal agencies a test to see how we would perform. And we failed dramatically. Not a single agency passed the test, meaning we have to prep for it. Why would the government run the first ever solar storm emergency drill if they didn't think that we were going to have to potentially be ready for one of these in the next decade or so, right? Nobody knows when it will come, but most people who are paying attention think it is going to come in the next couple of decades. And so basically what's going to happen, if it does happen, is the United States or wherever it's affected will lose all energy. All electricity will stop. Everything. And so you won't be able to use your cell phones. You won't be able to call anyone. You won't be able to email anyone. You'll be able to listen to the radio because radio waves aren't affected like that. You'll be able to use old dialogue type technology, but not the newfound technology that everything is being converted to. That will stop. And so if you want to prep for it a little bit and be a doomsday prepper with us, you need to go out and get some supplies that will be good for you to survive a 24-hour blackout or a week-long blackout. Nobody knows, right? So stockpile some water, ideally not in plastic, right? Go get some technology that you'll be able to use. Go get some radios that are hand cranked. Go get a generator. Go get some stuff that you can use to survive a large-scale blackout, because the government is doing that. The United States government is doing that. They're prepping for a blackout. So we should probably also prep for a blackout, because I bet they know stuff that we don't know. That's your doom and gloom for the day. Cheers to that. Go get a stockpile of whatever drugs and alcohol you need to survive. I'm just kidding. It's okay. Blackouts in Africa are normal. Used to study for exams under candlelight. Damn. Interesting. See, we got someone reporting right from Africa. Wild Africa. Okay, so Isaac. You guys want to know about Isaac? So Isaac has a token here. And if you do not know what Isaac is a researcher. Are you on the RO tabletop filter water filter train? No, I have not. Failing to prepare is preparing to fail. David, W. I agree with that. David. I've not actually heard of that, C90. Isaac is an AI agent that is able to help in research, all right? So what you can do, or what Isaac does, is pull up research articles on a given subject, all right? So like you guys saw when we were going through on X and we were looking at that news about Neptune right here from NASA, and you saw that Isaac pulled up and gave you a little snippet of information about what that post was, right? So Isaac is able to research through publication journals to get information on whatever topic you're asking about and give you that information. Yeah, that's basically the entire thesis behind it. It can also link the studies if you want the studies and stuff. What is unique about Isaac is that it has a public-facing API endpoint. And you guys know, because this is the Build with Bill daily or weekly episode, where every Friday we go over my AI agent and the build out of that AI agent, Bill, the DeSci guy. He is an AI agent that uses API endpoints to get information. So for example, when Bill is trying to find out the price of research coin, he does an API call to Dex Screener that says, hey, can you send me over the price data of research coin? Dex Screener sends that information back to Bill and Bill gives it to you, right? That's what API endpoints are effectively. It's like a waiter at a restaurant where you're trying to get an order into the kitchen, but you don't talk directly to the kitchen, you talk to the waiter, and the waiter runs your order to the kitchen. That's basically what's going on. So Isaac has a system that you can send a request to Isaac that says, hey, can you give me a research paper on the pole shift that's happening on the planet? And Isaac will go scour the internet, scour academic journals for that pole shift information and give it back to you. In the world of AI and technology and computers, all things are done through tokens, okay? And so a token is basically one character, right? Where if I type something out and I just say hi, HI, that's probably going to be 2 tokens. It's not exactly like that. It might be 3 tokens. I don't really remember. It might be 1 token, but it's roughly speaking, each character is a token. When you're doing these queries to Isaac, you have to use 40 of his tokens. So instead of not assigning a monetary value to the tokens, where most of the internet doesn't assign a monetary value to these tokens, it's just you buy 1 million tokens for $50 and you use those tokens as you want. Isaac has a token here that you have to send him in order to get that API information, in order to get that information back through the APIs. And so the idea is that researchers and academics in DeSci are going to use Isaac to get research studies and to get information from, okay? That makes sense? That's why he's got the token. You go buy 40 of these tokens and you can get information on one research topic. So if you want to use Isaac in your AI agent, for example, if I wanted Bill to be able to pull up research articles, I would use Isaac's API and I would have Bill send Isaac 40 tokens every time he had a question for Isaac. And then Isaac would give Bill back the answer, and there you go. Go to Isaac editor page, look at roadmap for Q2. Hell yeah, Isaac editor. Isaac roadmap Q1, Q2, enhanced research automation. So new integrations of Isaac X powered agent capabilities into Isaac editor, new subscription tier, Isaac X with token enabled features, advanced automation features, pay as you go compute resources using Isaac X, and launch of first autonomous research workflows. Hell yeah. So they're probably finishing this up right now then. And then we got Q3 and Q4, Isaac X platform. Launch of the Isaac X platform from community-driven research projects, first showcase projects combining AI agents with human expertise, research funding mechanisms powered by Isaac X, initial university partnerships and academic collaborations, and research quality assurance framework. Hell yeah. So he's a research agent assistant, and he's sitting at a $1 million market cap, and I think that is a steal of a price. He just fell down a little bit, so I bought right around here. He went up, and then he fell back down. So he's right at the same price that I bought in. You guys are all doing great. Don't forget it. Hell yeah, Steve the Canadian. I love your bullish sentiment. I love the bullish sentiment. Look at QSI stock. Quantum Silicon Incorporated. All right. So down quite a bit from its IPO in 2021. And it looks like it is finishing out that pop, drop, and lock it. So it looks like it's trying to lock in here. And I would venture to say it is. So let's go ahead and look up Quantum SI Incorporated. Whoa. Medical devices, healthcare, Quantum SI Incorporated, a life science company, engages in the development of single molecule detection platform to enable next-gen protein sequencing. That's pretty cool. Use necessary cookies only. Powering the proteomic era, Quantum Sci, the protein sequencing company, brings the groundbreaking power of single molecule protein sequencing into every lab. This looks cool. You know what we do though? We get a rough understanding of what they're doing, which I think we do now. We have a very rough understanding. Nowhere near a deep enough level to fully grasp the picture, right? But then we go to investor relations, all right? You type in the name of the publicly traded company, and then you type in investor relations. By law, they're all required to have this. And this will give you all information on their press releases, their events, their stock information, their financials, their governance. Whoa, wait a second. Governance. You get their SEC filings and their investor relations. But what we want to do is look at their first quarter financial report. So first quarter of 2025, revenue of $842,000, an 84% increase over the first quarter of 2024. So they're growing the top line of everything at 84%. That's pretty cool. Launched and completed first deliveries of Platinum Pro, announced on-track development of Proteus, reaffirmed cash runway into the second half of 2027. Okay, so they have some good cash on hand. Here we go. Here's the good stuff. The consolidated balance sheet. So current assets, cash equivalents. Right now they have $37,000, but this is in thousands. So they have $37 million. So they're burning through a little bit of cash here, quarter over quarter. You can see that. They have marketable securities, so they invested that cash, and that went up a good chunk. It went up $35 million, and this did not go down $35 million, so that's good. So their total assets went up a good amount, but their cash went down, so they're burning some cash. Their liabilities are pretty low, so accounts payable, people that they have received money from but have not yet actually delivered the service, is going down, so they're delivering some service. That's nice. Payroll costs are pretty low. Their current liabilities are much lower than their cash, which is a good thing, right? That means if they needed to, if they got in a pickle, they could pay off all of their current liabilities instantly. Their total liabilities are much lower than their assets, so their balance sheet actually looks pretty decent. Their cost of revenue is low. They are in a net loss, but that net loss is coming from operations here. Most of it looks like research and development. So they're still in a heavy research phase, which means that they're likely not getting out of this loss in the next couple of years, if I had to guess. That's pretty cool though. That looks pretty healthy. So they got a healthy looking balance sheet. So now it would be time to really dive into what exactly they're doing and what their company, what what people are paying them for, right? It looks pretty good. They got an SD form here. I'm curious why they have quantum in their name. Are they using quantum? You know what we could do? We could go to ChatGPT. It is past our top of the hour time. Can you act, well, you are a world-class investor analyzing a new investing opportunity. Please review this company and give me a summary of what they do for their customers and if they use quantum computing for anything. Dun, dun, dun. Let's see what ChatGPT says. Biotech company pioneering advancements in proteomics through next generation protein sequencing, NGPS. Despite its name, Quantum Sci does not engage in quantum computing. The company focuses on semiconductor-based protein sequencing technologies and leverages artificial intelligence for data analysis. No indications of quantum computing. Cool. It looks like it's something to keep an eye on. How about that? $352 million market cap. It is extremely small for the stock market. Let's see what price to revenue is. Price to sales rather, excuse me. 65, so that is really high. Price to book is 1.1, so you're almost getting it at book value. It's a tricky one. That's a tricky one. There you go. There's my thoughts on it. Could be good. If we go into a tough time in the economy, it's probably not going to be great. But It is not as expensive as I think I expected it to be. Any more thoughts on bill name change? If we're gonna do it, we gotta do it quick. We gotta do it now, basically, if we're gonna do it. Which I do think we need to do it so that we can get listed on CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap. All right, guys. But no, I don't have an update on it, and that's what you were asking, and I am sorry, David. Your time is your most valuable asset. Hopefully this is worth investing it into. I appreciate you guys being here with me, and I will see you guys in Monday's live stream. All right. Peace.